Michael was the American dream with a silencer attached.
No radio. We're in the digital armpit of the universe.
They'll spot us easiest near the wreckage.
That's a dinner invitation. Scenario A. Armed hostiles show up.
We make it out as a unit, or we don't make it out at all. You hear that?
They moved toward the sound, shouldering through undergrowth. Leaves stuck to their faces. A bird swooped overhead with a rustle. Suddenly, the space opened up, a low clearing packed down by animals and a thin silver ribbon of a stream running between rocks. Both stopped dead. The water glittered, beckoning. Michael was already stepping forward when Keen raised his hand.
Can't,
He said calmly.
crawling with bacteria and parasites. This water's not for drinking. It'll kill you faster than the wildlife. And the jungle buries you without a trace.
Damn, of course. Autopilot kicked in.
It's like a church.
Keen said with an ironic smirk.
First, purification, then faith. But the water's still gotta pass through fire.
He grinned back, eyes still locked on the stream. Something clicked, clean and final. The whole problem snapped into focus. He already had the answer.
Small fire. Smokeless. Low profile. Well, at least somebody here knows how to pray right.
Michael studied the flow, then exhaled.
All right. Water's here. We got containers, filterings, no sweat. Plus rainwater. We won't die of thirst.
Back at the wreck, the news of the stream hit the group like a lightning strike of pure oxygen. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Captain Stan and Chen were hunched over a small orange box, the ELT.
We need to get it up into the canopy,
Stan muttered, more to himself than to Chen.
If we can get the antenna above the leaf line, the signal might break through. It's protocol.
Chen said nothing. He just held the base steady while Stan worked the knots. Michael glanced at Keen. Keen gave a barely perceptible shake of his head. Hanging that box in a tree was like lighting a candle in an empty cathedral and expecting God to show up. But neither of them said a word. In the jungle, energy was the only currency that mattered, and they weren't going to spend it on someone else's delusions. Not yet. The move took most of the day, multiple trips, 200 yards each way, but the jungle turned distance into a maze of roots, thorns, and mud that sucked at their boots. When they finally had everything moved, people collapsed where they stood. No one spoke. They just breathed. Michael dropped the seat he'd been dragging and wiped his face with a shaking hand.
200 yards,
He muttered.
felt like 200 miles.
No one answered. The new camp was raw, unfinished, seats arranged in a rough circle, plastic sheeting draped over low branches. No walls, no real shelter yet, just the beginning. At the edge of the clearing, hidden behind a dense screen of ferns, Michael began to dig. He carved 2 holes into the red clay earth, each about a foot deep. Then he connected them with a tunnel underground, using a sharpened piece of fuselage to scrape out the channel. The draft will be perfect, Michael said, testing the airflow with his palm. Oxygen pulls through the tunnel, feeds the flame from below, and the fire stays hidden.
No smoke plume. No light signature from above. We'll be invisible.
When the fire finally took hold deep within the earth, there was no smoke, just a soft, wavering glow that painted the inside of the pit in shades of orange and red. The heat rose in a tight column, barely visible. The sound was different too. Not the roar of an open flame, but a low crackle, like the fire was whispering secrets to the dirt. While the fire burned low, Beth worked nearby. She'd laid out everything from the galley on a flat piece of fuselage. Her hands moved with surgical precision, sorting, counting, calculating. She separated the perishables first, fruits, sandwiches already going soft, a half wheel of cheese.
"These won't last,"
she muttered.
"We eat them tonight, tomorrow at the latest."
Then the stable goods. Then the water. 6 sealed pouches, 8 ounces each. She stared at them for a moment, then looked toward the wreckage.
"The potable water tank,"
she said aloud.
"Chen, can you check the integrity of the tanks? If they're intact, we drain them. Could be 20, maybe 30 gallons."
Chen and Stan moved toward the wreckage without a word. Beth turned back to her inventory.
"We've got maybe 3 days of solid food if we're careful. Water, if the tank's held, and we supplement with boiled stream water, we're okay for now. But we need to start thinking past 3 days."
No one argued. Chen crawled out from under the galley floor, his hands wet, his face unreadable.
Tanks held,
He said,
mains intact, maybe 15 gallons left. Drain valves jammed, but I can rig a siphon.
Beth exhaled. For the first time since the crash, something had gone right. Keen drifted toward the jagged ribs of the plane wreckage, scanning the debris not as trash, but as raw material. He worked in silence, his fingers bending metal, honing edges against raw stone with smooth, practiced movements. No wasted motion, no hesitation. Michael watched for a while, then dropped into the dirt beside him.
You're really going full-on Rambo with this, huh?
Keen didn't look up.
You think rescue's dropping out of the sky tomorrow?
He tested the edge of the blade with his thumb.
Don't bet on it.
Michael was quiet for a moment. Then he stood, grabbed a support strut, straight, sturdy aluminum, and sat down across from Keen. He started grinding it against a flat stone, the metal shrieking in protest. The air was filled with the metallic scrape of stone on aluminum. They were turning trash into tools, garbage into weapons.
There are no rules out here. You eat, you drink, you live. You sit on your hands, you're a corpse.
Keen waited a beat before answering.
Rules? Sure. Jungle wrote 'em.
He didn't look up from the blade. Lyra had been sitting on a chunk of debris nearby, watching them work in silence. Her eyes tracked their hands, the way Keen sharpened the edge, the way Michael tested the weight of the shear shaft.
"What about a spear?"
Both men looked up. Michael blinked, then let out a short, surprised laugh.
Look at her.
He said, grinning.
Kid's got a soldier's brain.
Keen studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded once.
Spear's smart. Keeps distance between you and trouble.
Lyra didn't smile, just gave a tiny nod. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small black object, an MX switch, 5-pin, linear. She held it between her thumb and forefinger, studying it for a moment. Then she pressed down. Click. The sound was clean, crisp, perfect. She pressed it again. Click. The rhythm was soothing, hypnotic. It drowned out the chaos in her head. Michael glanced over.
What is that?
Lyra didn't look up.
Keyboard switch?
You carry that around?
Yeah.
Why?
Lyra's thumb pressed down again.
Helps me think.
Michael stared at her for a second, then turned back to his work, shaking his head with a faint grin, grinding the aluminum against the stone with renewed focus. The spearhead began to take shape, rough, jagged, but functional. Next to him, Keen was doing the same, but quieter. He wasn't even looking at the blade. He was listening to it, feeling the vibration in his palms. When the first knife was finally finished, Keen tested the edge, then drove it into the earth. The ground swallowed the tip with a wet, sucking sound. Michael looked at the blade, then lifted his half-finished spear.
Not bad for scrap metal.
Keen pulled the knife free and wiped the mud off with his palm. His eyes were flat, cold.
Now we have teeth,
he said quietly.
Question is, what's got bigger ones?
The voices of Keen and Michael hit Lucia's ears like they were muffled by layers of heavy, expensive velvet. She watched their lips move, heard the scritch, scritch, scritch of stone on metal, the faint click, click, click of that weird thing the kid was playing with. But to her, it was just background noise, a bad Foley track in a low-budget indie film. She tuned them out. The stench of smoke and wet earth faded, replaced by the blinding digital neon of her own obituary.
I can see it. I can see the headlines already. She went too soon, so senseless, so tragic. Dales, the PR spin will be insane. They're probably already cutting my in memoriam tribute for the next Oscars. I can see it. High contrast, black and white still. My half smile. The one that cost the studio an extra $5 million in residuals. The whole room will stand. It'll be my greatest performance. I'll make those bastards weep without even showing up to the set. And my assistants? Those vultures. They've probably already cleaned out my closet, hacked my burner phone, leaked my private gallery to TMZ.
They are texting my competitors right now. I'm free. Call me.
Studio heads will give my roles to some disposed 20-year-old ingenuous total career killer. If I'm not back within a week, Sotheby's will be auctioning off my life piece by piece like horror movie props. And Mamai? Her whole life just went off the rails. Though, knowing her, she'll milk the tragedy for every cent. Absolute stage mom behavior. But I'm alive, Mai. You hear me? If you knew I was alive, imagine the play we could make. I'd be the most wanted icon on the planet. Just like you promised. My job is to be the icon. And this icon is out of place. I need to get back fast. Not to survive. Cockroaches survive. I need to resurrect before it's too late. No death. No final curtain.
Suddenly, the world snapped back. Beth's face, close, too close, hands gripping Lucia's shoulders, mouth moving, eyes wide with concern.
Lucia, can you hear me?
Lucia blinked. Her throat was raw. Had she been screaming? She looked down at her hands. They were shaking, and they were slick with something warm and dark. Blood was blooming across her palms, thin red lines from the thorns, reopened by her own nails digging into the cuts.
I can't die here.
Beth's grip tightened.
You're not going to die. You hear me? You are not.
Lucia stared at her, then past her, into the black wall of the jungle beyond the firelight.
You have no idea what real death is. Real death is being off prime time for more than 48 hours.
Cut! Check the gate.